All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to some Minecraft Musings. I'm your host, A-Rye, A-Rizzy-Rye, with the Rizzy Riz. No, I'm just kidding. Definitely not. No, I've been doing some Elden Ring today, and I might actually do a couple more of those. Trying to get some chores done before the kiddos get here. But um, no, I actually just was watching some Breaking Bad and I had a revelation that I haven't even thought of. And I've watched this show maybe oh yeah, see, I gotta fix a couple of those. But anyways, I've watched that show several times, like all the way through. It's easily my favorite show. It's because it's all about social engineering and like how bad and how good a person can become, and all the different variations of it too. Like there's so many angles, there's so many like characters, and like oh, it's just so amazing. And I'm part of a few groups online. They talk about like Marie, what's her point in the whole thing? Like because Marie's kind of sorry, she's kind of like a secondary character, and like and this is kind of spoilers. So if you haven't seen Breaking Bad, I apologize, but you might want to fast forward or maybe even not watch this episode. So, but anyways, Marie, so she's got like a kind of klepto thing problem, and being married to an agent of the DEA, yet having a problem with stealing things. And it's just like, there's so much to unpack there, like the psychology of it. And I did take basic psychology or general psychology 4 times because I kept not showing up. Like I kept stopped going to class, but I still like read the. Well, I didn't read a lot of the chapters, but like skimmed them, tried to read them, studied, like tried to prepare for the tests, like had all that. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to go under and fix all that. And actually, I should fix that first. So as you can see, it's already causing issues. The llama is hanging down there. Let's see. Do I have anything that I need to heal? Nope, nope. We need the coral. And we'll take these two. These look like Horton Hears a Who. Like the little. And then. Oh gosh. They're alive. But, anyways, one of my very first videos was a llama pinata. And it had that exact. Or a very similar situation where the wandering trader was walking around in my garden or my melons. And, the llama was hanging off the side because I didn't have a wall or anything. I was like, I don't need a wall. I know where I'm walking. Didn't even think about like if anyone else played in the world or if, Wandering Trader was using it. And so there was a llama hanging like that, just like hanging in air. It was like high as the lead would let them, or as low as the lead would let them, I guess I should say. And so I came up and I was like, oh, it's a llama. It's a llama pinata. And then killed the llama because I was worried about the llama like running around and trampling my pumpkins, the stalks or the what do you even call that? Like branches? Stalk, I guess, is the word for it. It's just like the stringy cord, basically, if you're thinking about tech, um, of the plant. Yeah, I can see them from here. All those I need to go back and break and fix. But, anyways, how we doing on supplies? Actually, now that I think about it, I mean, go drop off the coral, grab some more diorite. So, but anyway, so I'm watching season 4, episode 10, and it's Walt Jr.'s birthday, and basically Walt misses it. I mean, he gets into a fight with Jesse, and it's all bad. And like, I won't try to spoil too much, but basically, he's impaired because he takes some pain pills that he had from his surgery, and he has a couple beers, and so he's basically like hungover, drunk, like, and mixing alcohol with painkillers is a terrible idea because it accelerates or it amplifies it. Like alcohol amplifies just about everything, and it's very dangerous. It could be potentially lethal. I mean, you could die, but like at very least, you're more inebriated than you would be if you were just drinking the alcohol. It magnifies it. So, anyways, um, so as he's like passing out, he's like, "That's good, Jesse." And Walt Jr. hears that, and it like hits. And already, you got to remember, like his dad missed his birthday. He got a horrible car after getting a very cool car from his dad, and like, and all these things, and on top of everything that's already going on, the underlying, oh my gosh, like he's probably gonna die, like, and he's off doing all these illegal things, like, but they think it's just gambling. Oh, anyways, yeah, I just never thought about that because the whole time you think about how how Skylar is upset because he's basically abandoning the family, turning his back on the family by becoming a criminal, and betraying the family. Like, she would rather die in poverty and debt than disgrace. And but at the same time, you see throughout the show where she does see, she's like, maybe this isn't so bad. Like, they were dealt a horrible hand by fate or whatever. If you're religious, then by God, if you believe that. But either way, the results were, Walt had cancer. So, and you learn that in the very first episode. So it's not like I'm spoiling anything there. But yeah, and it's just like the show's so good because it is like a analysis of how dangerous an expensive medical system is. Like, if you don't have health insurance, I mean, because you can't just not pay the doctors and the hospitals and like all of the stuff, and like that's expensive, especially like having to keep it sanitized and like follow protocols, and and staffing them, making sure that you're paying the nurses and the doctors, and not even just them, like everybody else has to clean to a much higher standard since it's a medical place. Like, even food factories have an amount of like rat poop that can be in your cookies, which is a horrible thing to think about. But then at the same time, it's like, there's a tolerance there. Whereas in a hospital, someone could die if there's like any rat poop or anything. Like, I mean, if there's a contamination, especially in like operating rooms, like they got to keep those spiffy clean and sanitized and like basically sprayed down. I wonder how they do clean them actually. So I remember even just I did a temp job in a spice factory, and we even sprayed down like the whole area like with a hose and stuff, like power washed it because we had like cocoa and stuff and it would get everywhere, and you had to, I guess similar thing, you had to keep it to a certain degree clean. But we did a pretty good job, but at the same time, like I could see there'd be easily the potential for contamination there. Anyways, I won't say which spice company. But no, just the idea that Walt Jr. And then I kind of went further with that. I was like, well, Walt Jr. wasn't really good at being bad. Like, he wasn't good at breaking the rules. And I think that's part of why he idolized Hank. Also, the fact that Hank was the one that came to his rescue. Like, when Hank gave him the weed talk, Hank gave him took him to the Crystal Palace to go talk to Wendy. Like, that Walt wasn't doing that. Walt didn't give a rip. Like, I mean, and all the attention was on Walt and his mom, like, his mom being pregnant. So it's like Walt Jr. is just this kind of, and the attention that he's used to getting is negative attention for his handicap, especially like we see that in one of the first episodes where, they're getting taunted in public, and it's just like, that's just a glimpse, like one day in the life of someone that has to live with a handicap. And that's why I love ability tech so much. Like, I mean, technology and computers, that's what we need to make them for. I mean, like all of the things that can go wrong, and not blame it on God or humans or whatever or nature, just like look at the results. Like, okay, we got, this, the legs don't work as well as they need to. Like, how can we fix that? And first, how to fix it like more organically with like actual skin tissue and stuff. I know we do grafting, but that seems kind of macabre, and I think that's why Elden Ring has a lot of that in it. It's like to show just how messed up and twisted even like skin grafts are, because that's just like taking part of you and putting it somewhere else on you. And then Elden Ring takes it even further. I won't go too far into that in case there's more of a Minecraft crowd that enjoys these. But honestly, if you're enjoying these, you've heard a lot worse than that. But anyways, I digress. So, but the dynamic, I mean, because when they're in the hospital in another scene, Walt brings Walt Jr. that book about the guys that caught Pablo Escobar, but they never actually caught him. And so it was just like, yeah. And then back to Marie, like that's why I think that Marie is such the character that she is because she's so wanting attention, to feel seen and heard, much like all of us. And she lashes out with stealing. In fact, she's like almost wanting to get caught. And she doesn't realize that she's wanting to get caught when she's going to house showings. Then she does get caught and she's like, okay, no, 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 no. Like, I don't want it this way. But she is going to get the therapy and the treatment that she needs, or the attention, even if it's negative, like to help her address her issue of not being the center of attention. And she's horrible with it too. Like that birthday party with like, or maybe it's the baby shower. She's wearing like the party gown, like she's from like the Roaring Twenties, or I don't know, but it is like a cocktail dress or like a party gown. Like she's looking to get attention, and when everybody's there to pay attention to the baby that's not even born, yeah. And then the fact that she doesn't have kids, that always kind of confused me too. Like how Hank and Marie, I don't know if they ever addressed that. Like, if they say why they don't want to have kids or anything. So, anyways, this did become very Breaking Bad heavy of an episode of Musings, but I do intend to do some more work on my voting server here soon. And the idea, I'm actually starting to think, like, could be even just a database. Like, I know databases aren't, or spreadsheets aren't databases, but at the same time, even a spreadsheet, like a Google Sheets, if you dedicated enough resources, or if Google set aside enough, like just put like a whole building of servers dedicated to the voting system, and then had complete transparency to the public, they could already have designed the system of having everybody assigned a number, having an email account. You could just have a Google account. Done. Most people do anyway, but even if you don't, like, I mean, one of the things that I do for my job is I help people get set up with a Google account, and there's a lot of public education that, like, one of my relatives, she helped with, like, it was kind of like a makeup science and math class. It's supposed to be for like more like at-risk youth, or like people that needed a second chance, or that tried it and failed, or didn't pay attention, or weren't able to succeed the first time or whatever, and then they needed to do it again. And Google is a huge partner in the education space. Like, they have a lot of very cheap or even free products depending on what the needs are, and they're great for public educators. So, and it continues into college, higher education, where I work. So let's see. I'm not trying to sound elitist or anything. I'm just like saying that, like, an observation. And it could be done. All it needs is every person has a number. It's going to be a very long number, but it needs to be unique and discrete, like, to a point. Like, you could see what this number voted for, or who this number voted for. Like, okay. And everyone too, not just president, but like Congress people, like, whoever else is on the ballot, or what's on the ballot too. You could see how they voted. And then you could even, and this would be a really cool part. Ooh, in fact, I think I'm going to design this. Yeah. I'm going to go pick these up. Even if I just made a database, like, or a system to interface with the database, like, okay, thank you, or sign it. So the whole thing needs, like, so a web server with a linked database that people log into. And already right there, I'm a little nervous about that, because I know it needs to be secure, and I know you need to toggle certain things off and on, and protect things to do proper security setup of a database, and any system that allows people to log in and have any kind of information about someone, even if it's just their email, like that sensitive information that you don't want leaking out to where people that might want to abuse it, like, say, send a bunch of spam or phishing, which is kind of funny because I'm actually monitoring a few scammy WhatsApp chats. Like, somebody added my phone number somehow. I don't know how, but I've been a silent observer watching them. Like, I'm recording everything, and like I'm packaging it up. I don't know what I'll do with it yet. Like, I mean, so far I've just been like looking at it, but I think I want to, like, you know, not to be considered like a total narc or anything, but I don't condone stealing, and I think I'm okay with being a narc in that aspect of, like, just tattling on exposing people stealing from people. Plus, it was unsolicited. Like, I don't know why I started becoming part of these groups, but I did. And normally, the normal behavior is you just leave, and then they're like, oh, okay, well, that number, they don't want anything to do with it. That's probably not a good number. And they go through a bunch of these phone numbers until they find some that they can scam. Well, dang, I go through so many of these. Like, this is a massive project. And if you look at my mini map, I was even thinking about making a triangle, but it's like a giant white square forming, like almost as big as that mountain over to the west, way far to the west, like an artificial, like, kind of temple building. I don't know. I want to put a bunch of houses in here. Like, the top floor is reserved for a mausoleum, or like a graveyard basically, but a memorial for people that have passed on. Anyways, I just got excited because that's something I can do. I can set up a database and slowly set up the security. Like, all this stuff is going to be on a development web server that's not even forward facing. I have a script to generate dummy users, just fake test users. So, but that's in Python. I'm reading a book about Node.js, and I was going to make the server all in Node because Node already has pre-built packages. Like, you can just install stuff. So does Python, but like Node.js has pre-built stuff for, let's see, Let's see, I think I have a bunch of raw dye, right? Let's save the polish since I've already did work polishing it. And that's probably good. So, but anyways, if I could just show a system, and even then, like just showing the concept of like, because I've explained it to people that are not computer scientists at all, and they've understood it. Like they've been able to follow it. Basically, like you give everyone a unique number, their voter ID number, and that's emailed to their email that's protected with multi-factor authentication. And that means it's secure. So there's a very small chance. It's not impossible for someone to have unauthorized access, but it's much harder. Like they have to do like session jacking, cookie jacking, stuff like that. Like those things that I'm a little scared to really launch anything because I know there's potential security flaws because I haven't done it a lot, especially a lot lately. Like I developed a few websites back in college, but whoops, that doesn't mean that I could develop them now. I mean, and I didn't even set up the development environment or the hosting environment. Like I have no idea how to do all that stuff. Like I know in theory how to do it, but the actual commands and doing it are completely different. So, oh wow, and I still have this too. Oh, there's so much to do. Oh, yeah, this looks dangerous. Like that's like death. So I'm gonna cover this up. But anyways, just doing like a database because I have done that before. I've linked a database to a website with PHP, and I had a friend who had a bunch of tattoo art. He was a tattoo artist, and he was also just an artist in general, and he had a lot of drawings and stuff. And so I had him send me all the files. I think he gave me a flash drive with all of the digitized files of his work, and I made a website that was hosted at CSU that showcased all of his work. And basically, what it did is it you'd as the page loaded, it would query the database and pull all of the different entries and then generate a well, it would generate a picture of it, and then you could click the picture, and then it would generate a new page dynamically, like reactively. It would generate a new page, so it didn't matter. It wasn't like hard coding and building a page, and every time he'd like want to post a piece of work or take a piece down, it wouldn't be like, okay, now you gotta log in, delete this, copy this. No, the PHP did all of it. Wait, did I mess that up? Okay, I don't think so, but I imagine I'm going to be having to do some scaffolding and like climb up there and fix some of this stuff anyway. So, but anyway, so I know it can be done, and not only that, I know that I can do it because I know any of this can be done, but can it be done by me, or someone I know? Can I explain how to do it? So, anyways, and just for my own fun and pleasure, like I'm just like building this thing slowly. I mean, I've built a basic server, like, you can talk to it and then it talks back, or you can talk back through it, and that's like fine. But that's not nearly what we need for this use. All right, also, I need to build a lot of, let's see, so I think that's that. Let's go and use up some of this stuff. And am I going to fall to my death? Possibly. All right, so what is this? 12, I think. Yeah, 4 on each side, and then 4 on the end. So I'll go over to the edge here. Eventually, I want to connect this with that's the nether portal over there. Yeah, this is definitely one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Bada bang. All right. Whew. Same with never cut towards yourself because you got to imagine, like, if it slips, how bad can it get? You always want to cut away from yourself. And I remember when I worked in that production company, building wind turbine blades, we did have to do a lot of cutting and stuff and sanding and sawing and hammering and all that good stuff, and you had to be careful. I was actually on the first aid first response team, and so I was supposed to be like one of the reactors if something, of course it was like a security guard compared to a cop. Like I was able to call the ambulance and call 911, section out the thing and do very basic first aid, but like you know nothing much more. And even that, I'd have to stay current. Like every 2 years, I think it is, you have to take it again. So, a refresher. Which is good because honestly, of course, it's been what? No, 2 years. So I would have had the refresher about now. But I mean, luckily I never had to use it, and I haven't even been there for. Oh wait, no, I haven't been there for 2 years, and it was like a year or so after that. Anyways, not important. The idea, though, if you get a voting system that proves zero fraud, and like there's zero chance of fraud, like you cannot do it. Like there's no possible way. And it allows everybody a voice because everybody can vote from the convenience of their home with their phone or a computer. Like that's it. And you send a signal, you vouch for your number, and then all you got to do is check and make sure. Be like, okay, did it change? Is it there? Is it good? All right, I can see that it's what I voted for, so that's good. And not only that, like every person could do a control F and see how many times each president's name pops up on the webpage. Like that's it. I mean, you could do it by county. Um, Although that is kind of a problem. Like if you'd have to like filter it down to, you'd have to drill down to just presidential because if you're trying to display, hmm, let's see there. Because I mean, it depends on the population, like in the limits of how many people you can display at one time. However, like you could do a file, like anybody can do a count. Like if they downloaded the file of like, and maybe that could be a thing too. Is like you can make it to where you can download a copy of all of the different things, but then you got to be careful because then they get all the voter registration numbers. Hmm. See, and I wonder if that's why this hasn't been done before. Is because it's hard to keep that anonymity. I mean, granted, the registration numbers can change. They could be different every time. Be like, this year your number is this, and so for this year you got this. Oh, jeez, that scared me. These headphones are much better than my other ones. These are my son's headphones that I'm using, so I might sound a little different. Because I was watching one of my videos the other day, and I noticed that the quality seems to be cutting out. And I noticed that on one of my first Elden Ring ones, it got blurry. So I guess I got to be careful with how much I'm taxing the network. And normally I don't do stuff like upload things while the kids are playing games, just because it's like usually both of them are playing an online game. It's like it's just understandably hard for a network to keep up with that. Like you got to have realistic expectations. And I remember the days of dial-up. I can hear my son in the back of my mind. It isn't your day, old man. I love it. Because I'll say, back in my day, we had this. We could only have one person on a computer or a device at a time. And if anybody picked up the phone to make a phone call, it would kick that person off. We've come a long way. All right, let's see here. So what else did I want to chit-chat about? I feel like I'm almost done. Let's keep doing this. And I mean, I'm thinking just putting this at the end of the two taboos. Like I've got so many things. I started to create a new playlist, but it does keep going back to that. Like it's an election year. It's very concerning. Although, like I've said before, I read Neil deGrasse Tyson's book, most of it. I didn't even finish it. It's so good that I don't want to like rush it. And it's a small book too. It's like only a couple hundred pages, small sized pages, like, but it's just like the brevity, the depth, like the substance is just so overwhelming. And I'm in a book club too for my work, and like we read it, and that's all what a lot of people said was just like, yeah, it was a really dense like subject matter and stuff. And like, but they all said the same thing, is like it made them feel a little better about politics. Like granted, we're still all pretty stressed out because there's a lot of wild accusations going around from both sides, like, oh, they're going to take your guns, or oh, they're going to take your jobs, or oh, they're going to make your kids gay, or oh, like they're going to make you gay. Like, I don't know, like there's all sorts of different things that or they're going to take away Jesus from you, or they're going to kill Christmas. Sorry, I was trying to balance it out. Like, it's really easy for me to point out the points that are a little more ridiculous. Oh, they're going to take your guns, or, oh, brown people are going to steal your jobs, because it's extremely racist and offensive. And, having a lot of friends of different nationalities and having traveled a lot, I worry about people that are not white males. Like, it's hard not to. Like, women, even white women, like, they don't get much, leeway on anything. All right, let's see here. Maybe we should start building, because I think what I did. Oh, I was trying to crouch. I can't really see. I'm trying to see like if I have. Well, let's just go down. Yes, I do. So I have 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. In fact, I can even build this last pedestal and then start building them out this way. Make sure I'm lining it up right. Okay, there. Now, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Is that all lining up? Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's mostly like if you just imagine all the money that we wasted on investigating whether or not an election was stolen, and I get it, like if it really was stolen, that would be some very big concern. Like, we should be investigating stuff like that. Like that is the whole point of investigating things is like making sure things are fair and even and sketchy things are not happening. But I hate to say it, but there's a lot of sketchy things happening, like corporations and Wall Streets and payouts and excessive greed and like all this stuff that are taking back seats because of fake issues. And I guess that's why I'm so upset and fed up with misinformation too. Like even just the Olympics, like the fact that, or not even facts. Let's not talk about facts. None of this is factual. This is all speculation anyway. This is my opinion, I guess I should say. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I did get dinged by that. I started talking about a certain subject that I know hardly anything about except for what I've seen. And I was just giving my 2 cents, and then YouTube didn't like it, and that's fair. Like, there's a lot of reasons why misinformation is so dangerous. But even with like the Olympics, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, there was an outrage that they were making fun of the Last Supper, and like with like a Greek party, a bacchanal or whatever they're called, and I've read about and learned about Dionysus and the party god. Like I've done art history where there are paintings done for him. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I saw online like, oh, the painting that the Last Supper ripped off was 20 years earlier, with Apollo with a golden halo, like a god signification behind his head. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it looks like the Last Supper, but it was 20 years earlier. Da Vinci actually saw that and got inspiration from that, and like it was like sampling. People do it, like music sampling, especially in hip hop. Like they'll take something from another song or track and just be like, "Oh, I like how this sounds. Let's play with it. Let's like let's see what this does." 1, 2, 4. I really hope these are lining up. In fact, let's take a look. See if it looks good. I mean, except for that one that I misplaced, but. And I guess, see, with that, it was easy because you could see if they line up. And eventually we'll be doing that on this side. But, whew, this is a long way to go. I'm kind of like lining up here, making sure like this lines up, and this lines up. Let's get some more stairs. I guess we could just do the bases for now. And then what I'll do is I'll get like scaffolding with dirt, then pin it up. I don't know. At the end of the day, like people are people. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. I mean, and like thinking that they're anything other than the same people with the same problems, with the same like solutions, taking the same shortcuts, having the same frustrations when, some of the shortcuts will work out, most of them won't. At least like maybe they'll work out in the short term, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you got to do a bunch of, other work to make up for it or, and whether you don't think you do or you do, you will. Like you'll have that guilt and it'll come back to bite you. That's why it's best to just not do sketchy things. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And young people don't understand that, well, probably until their brains are fully developed, so mid to late 20s with the whole prefrontal cortex, the decision maker. And that's something that we learned in psychology. And also some other psychology training that I had. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Immersive psychology training. But still, I mean, understanding the way our brains work and think and how we think, like what drives us, 1, 2, 3, 4, what would potentially drive us to do something that we don't want to do, or something that we might only want to do at the time, like whether it's, elevated emotions, not understanding the full macro view of everything or not having all the facts too. Like that's a big thing, like thinking quick and out of anger, 1, 2, 3, 4, when most of the time it's a misunderstanding. Like especially disrespect in public. Although there were a couple times where it was quite obvious. Like I almost got into a fight with a group of kids in downtown Denver. One, two, three, four. They said, "Hey, baby," to my girlfriend as I was walking by. Now, mind you, at the time, I was on a lot of substances and I was not one to mess with. I was already kind of on the edge all the time, slightly dangerous. I was like training to be in the military, like one, two, three, four. But also at the same time, like I'd listen to gangbanger music and cruise around the hood. Probably was harder than half of them, like as far as gangsters were considered, like and very unpredictable and dangerous because substances will do that to you. But they didn't know that. They just saw a white boy with a hot girlfriend, half Jewish girlfriend too. Gorgeous. One, two, three, four. Oh, she was my the love of my life at that time. Um, Not now though. I mean, she's happy. She's off doing her own thing, and I'm happy for her. Hope she's doing her thing and happy. So, but like a queen, and she saw it too. She knew. And I used to carry guns and knives and bats and stuff like in my vehicle, but never on me. I just had my meat hooks, my mitts. I mean, playing football for 8 years, one, two, three, four, or maybe seven. I think I quit one year because I just couldn't do it. I was going through a hard time, but yeah, my I was used to hitting people daily. That was my fun. That was my sport. That was my job. So like I was gonna tackle them, like start swinging and like doing all these crazy things. All right, oh, that's all our stairs, and that's all our time. So, anyways, that got way off topic, but respect and understanding. Now, disrespect and understanding too. They didn't know all the pieces. They didn't know who I was. They didn't know who that was, and they were young and stupid. We all were, and I forgive them that. If that happened today, I would still say something. I would still put them in their place, but I'd probably be less slower to violence and anger. I would think about it, try to talk to him, talk both of us back off the ledge, and be like, "Hey, now, put my hands up. Let's start talking about this. Show them how big my hands are and how the scars and everything." Anyways, ta ta for now. I will see you in the next one. Happy musings, and yeah, Breaking Bad is an awesome show. All right. Yeah, see all of those line up, and eventually I'm gonna have all these lined up. So, see you in the next one.